Welcome to the Sankofa Pan-African series. We travel through history's corridors, illuminating Afrocentric narratives. Support us through Patreon or by buying me coffee. Your subscription is a great start, but do hit the bell for notifications so you know when we have new episodes. Share our videos and visit our website sankofastorybooks.com for stories, biographies, Afrocentric nursery rhymes, and other resources for children. Together can change the negative narratives about us. Kenya is once again on edge as protests erupt across the nation over a recently passed finance bill containing controversial tax hikes. The bill, championed by President Ruto as necessary to offset heavy public debt, has sparked widespread anger and frustration among citizens struggling with rising living costs and economic hardship. The new financial bill is simply a lightning rod for discontent, further exacerbated by existing economic challenges such as high inflation and unemployment. Demonstrators argue that the government's policies disproportionately burden ordinary citizens while failing to address critical issues like inadequate public services and corruption. They are, of course, justified. The protests in Kenya should, however, not be viewed in isolation from external factors. Kenya's financial crisis is a result of several interrelated factors, including high levels of debt owed to multilateral institutions like the World Bank and IMF. The country also owes bilateral lenders like China and other countries including Japan, France, and Germany. And then there are the commercial lenders like Eurobond holders and syndicated loans provided by a group of banks. All this indebtedness is complicated by economic mismanagement in the form of corruption, which has led to the misallocation of funds, reducing the effectiveness of public spending in the form of poor management of public funds and prioritization of non-essential projects over critical needs. Kenya, like other developing countries, suffers from large portions of the population which remains unemployed or underemployed, limiting domestic economic growth. Rising costs of goods and services have eroded the purchasing power of ordinary citizens, increasing economic hardship. The recently passed tax bill, which includes several controversial tax hikes, is apparently not the right solution for addressing Kenya's financial crisis for several reasons. First, the bill raises taxes on essential goods and services, such as fuel and food, which disproportionately affects low-income households already struggling with the high cost of living. For families barely making ends meet, these additional financial burdens exacerbate their economic hardships, leading to increased poverty and social unrest. Rather than help improve the economy, the new taxes have the potential to stifle economic growth. Higher taxes reduce the disposable income of citizens, leading to decreased consumer spending, which is critical for economic growth. Increased taxes can also discourage investment and entrepreneurship, further stifling economic activity and job creation. Given the level of corruption in the country, there is every likelihood that the additional revenue generated from the tax hikes will not be used effectively or transparently, potentially being diverted to private pockets. Without clear accountability measures, it is no wonder that Kenyans are skeptical about the government's ability to use the funds to improve public services and infrastructure. The tax bill does not address the root causes of the financial crisis, such as economic mismanagement, corruption, and structural economic issues. What Kenyans are demanding is a holistic approach focusing on economic reforms, anti-corruption measures, and targeted support for vulnerable populations, rather than the current high-handed approach which has led to riots and loss of lives and property. The Kenyan government must engage in meaningful dialogue with protest leaders and representatives from civil society to understand their grievances and work towards a mutually agreeable solution. Given the complex nature of Kenya's financial crisis, the most viable solution involves a combination of debt relief and comprehensive economic reforms. Multilateral, bilateral, and commercial lenders must forgive a large percentage of Kenya's loans, and then restructure Kenya's debt to provide immediate fiscal relief and create space for economic recovery. Kenyans should also insist that the government implement strong measures to ensure transparent and accountable use of public funds. There should also be targeted support programs like the provision of subsidies, cash transfers, and job creation programs to support low-income households. By focusing on debt relief, economic reforms, and targeted support, Kenya can address the immediate financial crisis while laying the foundation for sustainable development and social welfare. The situation in Kenya serves as a stark warning to other African countries similarly burdened by overwhelming debt and plagued by corruption. As these nations continue to prioritize debt servicing over the welfare of their citizens and infrastructural development, they are likely to face similar uprisings. The economic hardships caused by high debt levels, coupled with rampant corruption and mismanagement, exacerbate poverty, unemployment, and inflation. These factors create a volatile environment where citizens, frustrated by difficult living conditions and the government's failure to address their needs, are increasingly driven to protest. Without significant reforms and debt relief, the pattern of discontent seen in Kenya could easily spread across the continent as people demand transparency, accountability, and a fair distribution of resources that prioritizes their well-being and future development.